there, glad to see you again. This video is the second part of my list. If you haven't seen my previous entries on my top 25 games of all time list, then please be sure to check out part 1 in the description down below. Anyways, on with my top 10 out of 25 games I love of all time. Number 10. This game was such a wonderful surprise, and the characters, oh my goodness, the characters were done perfectly. You really felt the story, and the ending was just phenomenal. Unfortunately, the second game ruined it for me, but I try to place it in my head as non-canon to avoid upsetting myself. The Last of Us by Naughty Dog. Oh man, Joel, Ellie. Such a great game. I know the fighting mechanics is hard to get past for some players, but I enjoyed it. It had me on the edge of my seat during those thrilling tense times, smiling during those down times, and you are just gathering supplies and the characters are having conversations, and downright scary when you're all alone and you hear gets me the heebie-jeebies. Number 9. Now, GTA was a big game I love to play, and some will argue that my pick is not the best out of all the GTA games, but I will beg to differ. Because GTA Vice City, to me, is my favorite GTA game. The story, the time period, the main character, the depth of the side characters, the missions themselves, every single thing about Vice City was awesome. I still remember opening this game, popping it into my PS2 and walking out of the hotel room. My brother and I picking our jaws off the ground as we walked around this real living and breathing city with people making comments as you passed by. Most of them were their last. The ending mission alone was worth the entire game. Such an awesome game. I hope to see Tommy in future GTA games somehow. Great character. Number 8. Back in the day, Nintendo came out with something that seemed so cool. It was small and compact. The disc for the console was super small. Some people didn't like it, but I loved my GameCube. And one of the huge reasons I loved my GameCube was due to Zelda Wind Waker. This installment in a long line of others was so unique with their choice of art style. It was very cartoony and kiddish, but it gravitated towards me. I couldn't help but explore everything I could. Sailing from one island to the next seemed so cool that I didn't get upset about not having Epona by my side. Instead, I would go treasure hunting, connect the dots of the history that took place beforehand, and finally reclaim the mantle of a true hero with the defeat of Ganon. The ending scene was so crazy that you forgot the Toonie-like character wasn't just for kids. Great game, one of my all-time favorites. Number 7. Games are meant to be enjoyed, right? They aren't meant to make you yell or grow upset. They are meant to be a way to pass the time. Wrong! This game was one, if not the most challenging game I ever played. It took everything I had and then some just to get from one major obstacle to the next. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is an amazing game that will test your abilities as a player. It will force you to fight your enemies over and over and several more times until you finally scream up from your seat and shouting a victory. I haven't felt so happy to beat a boss in so long I forgot how it felt. Like just to try and try till you finally succeed in a game. I realize it isn't for everyone, and to be honest, I thought it wasn't for me. But after I played it, I wish I had more games like this. Hope there is a part 2. Number 6. I recently talked about this game and how it impacted me as a person. All these games have in one way or another, but this game really hit hard, especially with the ending I chose. The Ghost of Tsushima came out this year and it has got to be one of my favorite PlayStation exclusives of all time. The combat is fluid and so intuitive, the world around you is just gorgeous with the bright colors contrasting one another, the enemy threat feels real, and your code of morality will soon be tested throughout your journey as the main character Jin tries to find a way to honor his traditions while also saving his people from this invasion. Great game, if you haven't picked it up yet, you definitely need to. Number 5. As soon as we saw him walk on screen again, we all cheered from our seats. Kratos! And the boy, Atreus. The most recent installment from a huge series that started all the way back from the PS2 days. We thought we would never see Kratos again and we were wrong. Oh boy were we wrong. Not only did Kratos return in one of his greatest adventures, but he had matured into what seemed like a wise mentor for his son. Someone who had experienced all the pain and struggles from the previous games, but also had contemplated his choices and had true regret. The story was so well done, and it did it in a way that still stayed true to the character we all came and loved from the previous games. Number 4. Sometimes you want to play as a mafioso, sometimes as a superhero, or a warrior, but who can deny playing as a rugged, tough-to-the-bones cowboy? An outlaw. Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2, because I couldn't bring myself to separate the two, lets you do just that. But it didn't start from there. There was Red Dead Revolver, an old game that really brings me back to my childhood. I loved that game, and even bought it again for the PS4, but Red Dead 1 and 2 are just on a whole nother level. Story was so well done, trying to stay consistent by going backwards must have been tough, and there was a few missteps here and there in terms of characters and where they are in the storyline in the first game, but it was a dang good game, Walking down a dusty road to be halted by a gang of robbers and slowly hovering your hand over your 6-shooter just to go into that dead-eye mode and land 3-4 headshots on all those thugs just feels amazing. Clint Eastwood has got nothing on Arthur and John. Love these games so much. Number 3. I didn't think I was going to play it again. I didn't think I was going to finish it. The weapon degradation turned me off so much that I turned it off and said, forget it, I'm done. But I said, forget the weapon and just enjoy the journey. And soon the weapon didn't matter anymore, because I was in this huge open world filled with so many beautiful moments that I was slapping myself silly thinking I wasn't going to play this game all the way through. Zelda Breath of the Wild is simply one of the greatest games of all time. It hasn't been out that long, but it has quickly earned the mantle as the greatest of all time by many players. To be able to look into the distance and see a mountain at the end of the horizon and say, I'll go there next, and then actually travel all the way there just to look out there and see where you were before and say, dang, I just came from all the way over there? The world building was perfect, the challenges were just the right level of toughness, and the abilities you get are so cool and unique to the Zelda games. Phenomenal game. Number 2. Oh man, we are coming down to the end of the wire now, and I got to admit I struggled really hard on whether I wanted to put this game as my number 1 or my number 1 to be my number 1. I have played this game over 12 times, all the way through. I love this game so much. Thousands of hours have been spent into this game. The world is just too good. Every little detail, played it 12 times and I am still finding out new things in this game. The story is incredible, the main character is awesome, the side characters are amazing, the side quests are fantastic. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, top game for me on the PS4. So pleased with the game. I cannot even thank CD Projekt Red enough for creating such a great game. The game is so popular and has grown even more so due to the Netflix series of The Witcher. I will probably still be playing this game when I am 75 years old in my rocking chair. I tell you, it's that good. I don't want to say anything more about this game because I want you to experience it for yourself. Please buy this game and give it a chance if you haven't already. You won't regret it, and if you do, I don't understand how you could. Number 1. Well, here we are. Number 1. This game would have been number 2 on my list, but I just couldn't put myself to do it simply because it has been my favorite game of all time since I was 9 years old. My parents bought me this game not knowing what it was and how much it would impact me. It took me 7 years to beat it. Yes, you heard me right, 7 years. I thought I'd never figure this game out. As a kid, I didn't know what I was doing in the game. But as I progressed through the story, the game became more and more special to me. Well, Mario, what is it already? Alright, my favorite game of all time, my number 1 game of all time is Zelda Ocarina of Time. Yes, Zelda Ocarina of Time. Oh man, what a game. From the point where you finally make it across Hyrule and sneak into the castle to pass the guards and reach Princess Zelda, to the point where you lift the Master Sword, all the way to the point where you finish the final chamber and go to fight Ganon. It was non-stop epicness all the way through. I wish we could get a remake from Nintendo for the Switch so badly. I want to play this game again since it's been so long, but I'm a bit scared I won't beat my old record. Anyways guys, that was my top 25 games of all time. Hope you and I share a few favorites, and if you have a favorite game, let me know down below in the comments. Till next time, guys. Man, I gotta play some Breath of the Wild again. Been missing that game for some reason. Yeah.